a quick guide on how to do power steering pump replacement. Obviously, I already replaced it, and that's the reason why I'm doing it, because I'm trying to record and do it at the same time. It's impossible. There's just so much thing going on, and this is like a first-time beginner guide too, because this first time doing it myself. So first, you gotta take off this intake along with this cover. So take out this cover, take out this intake, and then you just gotta remove the clamp somewhere over here. Remove the clamp here, exactly the same clamp as this one. You're gonna remove this clamp, and you're gonna remove this clamp. And then once you do that, you just pull this back, push it over here, and make sure you disconnect this hose as well. So you're gonna pull it over, and that's done. And then now you're gonna take off this radiator hose, just the top one. And you take this top one, it's gonna about leak out a quarter or so. So you do gotta top it off when you're done. So you take it out, it's gonna leak, so you can have some prepare on the bottom. And then once you do that, you're gonna pull this to here. So I just pulled it like that, and I use this as a lock to hold it in place because there's still fluid in it. So cover something with a rag, so make sure nothing get in there. And then once you've done that, you need to take off the belt right here. Might not see it, but this is the tensioner. So just don't quote me, it is 16 or 17 millimeter. Then I use a breaker bar. So I just have the breaker bar over here. I pulled it this way to loose the belt, and then I lock it in here too. So basically, it's the hose and the breaker bar is gonna lock in here while I took the belt off. So once I took the belt off, I just released the tensioner and let it go. After that, there's gonna be 3 14 millimeter to take off the pump. It's gonna be like one on the bottom right here, and there's gonna one right here and one right here. All of them is gonna be a 14 millimeter. So I took off the bottom first. That seems to be the hardest because it's just so tight in there. I use a 14 millimeter deep socket because you gotta go through the pulley to do it. So you gotta do that. I only took this off first. So I still want the pump to be in place while I take this high pressure bolt off. This high pressure bolt, it's gonna take some time to get off, depending if it's rusted, if it's leaking. And it took me quite a bit, but with the impact, I was able to get it out quite easy for me. But before I did that, so I took off the 14 millimeter bolt. So the bottom one is gonna be a bolt. On the right, it's gonna be a bolt. One on top, it's gonna be a washer for the power steering pump. So I took out the bottom one, and then I left it in place while I take off the high pressure. You see this one, high pressure bolt? Once I loosened that, I took out the washer on top and a 14 millimeter on the bottom, and that I was able to get it loose. And then after that, I started to empty out the reservoir. What you can do is with a syringe, you can suck it out, or do how I did it. I took this hose out. I have another hose that is shut, one way in, no way out. So I just cover that part. And then this hose right here, put it in a plastic bag. So with a plastic bag, because there's not much room there, you can put a water bottle, but you gotta do it a couple times. So I did it before. With a water bottle, it's gonna fill the water bottle really quick. So it's just a mess. I gotta keep switching out because I did it by myself. So this is a one-person job. If you have an extra hand, that'd definitely be great. But I did it by myself. Took this hose out, put a plastic bag here, and then zip tie the bag onto this hose. The bag is big, so it's gonna fill up this much right here. So you got a lot of room right here to fill up. So that's great. And with that, I lift up the vehicle. Make sure the vehicle is off the ground. Once it's off the ground, you start turning it left and right. That will pump the fluid out right here. So you just want to pump some fluid out, just not to make a mess. After I replace the pump, I still hear sound, but the sound is very minimal. So what I assume happened is the pump is bad. This rack and pinion is also bad. So that's for another video. But this is just for the pump. And then the next thing is the pump is loose. This bolt is loose. Now you gotta take out low pressure hose, and it's gonna make a mess. There's no way to prevent it. Just make sure you have something on the bottom to catch it. So right here, you can see right here, you're gonna take out the pressure pump, low pressure, and it's gonna leak. And then after that, it took me like 20 minutes trying to wiggle it up here because I don't have this now. This is over there, so I was trying to take it out here, but it's impossible. Luckily, I was able to take it out here. From here, it's really easy. There's one big stud coming on top. Remember, the top is a washer. It's not a bolt. Like when you take out the pump, there's a bolt on the bottom, there's a bolt on the right, the top is a washer. It's gonna be a stud from the block. So you need to take it out, wiggle it, and once it's loose, you take it out from the passenger wheel fender. So you take it out here. Once you take it out here, you need to take the pulley. You need to take the pulley and the pulley bolt and also this high pressure bolt and put it on the new pump. That's the only 3 things you need: a pulley, a nut, pulley nut, and also the high pressure. If you want, you could buy a new pulley, a new nut, and a high pressure bolt, but I didn't do that. I just bought the pump. Funny thing, I thought the pulley's gonna come with the pump. Turns out I was wrong. That's my first time, so I don't know. So the pulley itself is actually costs as much as the pump. So I just used the old pulley, old nut, and old high pressure bolt. So that worked out fine. So I put it on. There's torque spec. You should look at forums and other YouTube video. Everybody gives a different number. But what I did easiest, I just asked ChatGPT, gave me the torque spec, and I just follow that. The bolt on the bottom is actually pretty hard to get, depending if it's rusted, if it's been old. So just try using your hand. Usually, they replace the pump or the original pump. It's pretty easy to get out if it's not rusted. Luckily, mine was pretty clean, so I was easy to get out, but good luck with that. I think that was the hardest part, to get the bolt, the 14 millimeter from the pump. And then after that, you put the pulley and the nut onto the new pump. So you put it back in, this big stud, you put the stud over the top pump. And then once you do that, you could tighten in the stud and the 2 bolt all the way, because once there's no like wiggle filament that you might need to take out. Once you're able to get that tight, torque spec or however you're comfortable with, just by tightening with hand. I did it with hand with no torque spec because there's no room for, I didn't have room for me to fit any torque wrench down there. So I just did it with my hand, and it's tight. Obviously, I drove it for 500 miles. Everything is good. So we're good on that. The only tips and tricks I could give you, other than the other video, because I have experience doing brake line, because I have a drift car over there, just sitting there. I have experience doing brake line and doing my hydro. There's always problem with leaks with the hydro, with the brake line, and the washer. And it's really good tips. Once you tighten this has a torque spec. I don't remember the torque spec. I might leave it under the video. But you just, for torque specs, just do your own DD and tighten it how you want. The 17 socket here with the extension, right? And then you're just gonna use a hammer. You're gonna hammer it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, however you want. Just hammer it with a bit of force, not light tap, not tapping. You gotta hammer. Hammer, so torque it to the spec, hammer 1 to 5 times, and then you're gonna hand tight again. You're gonna hand tight again, just little bit. Like once you hammer in, you're just gonna hand tight like this, little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. What I learned is that copper washer sometimes don't sit flush due to bolts. They have wear and tear, so it's not even. And when that happens, no matter how torque spec or how much you tighten it, it just won't sit flush. What happens is when you hammer it, it actually shapes the copper washer into the shape of the nut. So that works for brake line, not brake line, but like hydro line. Yeah, sometimes brake line. As long as you use these Banjo nuts, Banjo bolts, it works. So hammer it, and then once you hammer, tighten it just this much. Remember, not too much. You don't want to strip it. So once you hammer it, you just tighten it this much, just a little bit, like that, like that. Like this is the torque, right? This is a wrench. Imagine this is a wrench. This much, that's it. That's all you need, because the hammer is gonna shape the copper into the shape. And once you've done that, you're gonna fill in the pump, assume everything is in place. Remember, there's 2 washer. You cannot reuse the old washer because it's wear and tear. The shape is gonna be different. There's a washer here and there's a washer under here. So it's 2 washer. I don't know if you see it. For sure you won't see the other one, but basically there's one right here. There's one right here. And there's one under. So let me see if I can go under. This one under here, right here. It's hard to see, but it's gonna be right here. Basically, 2 washer. Make sure you do that, and then once that's done, you're gonna fill in the tank right here. You see, I actually fill it to the cold max already after I bleed it. I actually didn't know I have to bleed it. I thought filling it in and then turning my steering wheel 3-4 times will be enough. Turns out I was wrong. When I turn it on, there's a lot of grinding sound. And then there's a lot of bubble in there, meaning there is air. So you gotta lift the front wheel off the ground, turn it 20-30 times while you make sure this is filled. What I did was I poured it to the rim, it overflowed, but that made it 100% sure there is no bubble in it. Because when you turn it left and right, it actually raises by a lot. So it's like from here, it might go up to here. So I started from here. So basically I made a mess right here, but I mean, it can't be helped, right? So just to be safe, I filled it to the rim and then I bleeded 20-30 times, meaning I'm putting my steering wheel left and right, left and right, left and right, 20-30 times. And then while keeping always at a very, very fill level and just clean up the mess. I mean, it's worth it. You'd rather clean up the mess and not to properly bleed your steering pump. And then once I've done that, well, make sure you sorry, I'm skipping that. Make sure you put the belt back. Put the belt back. After everything is done, you know it's good, then you bleed it. 20-30 times, left and right, all the way to the right, all the way to the left. Just keep doing it 20-30 times while this fill. And then after it's done, after you think it's done, make sure you fill it to cold max. I had it in cold max, and as you can see now, it's lower, meaning that there was still air in the system, but just not enough to damage the pump. So I still had it, meaning I got a refill to here. And I know for a fact there's no leak because I drove the car for 500 miles already. And you see, there's no leak anywhere. I checked. I had a napkin there for like 2 days just to wrap it around just to see if there's any leak. No leak anywhere. So for sure there's no leak because the hammering the copper washer really, really does help a lot. So I know for a fact there's no leak. And after I switched the pump, I still hear minimal sounds. So the next thing I have to do is going to be the rock and pinion. But one step at a time. This is just a quick after the fact guide on how to change a steering pump. And I will list the part number that I purchased from Toyota, or you can just ask Toyota itself, give them your VIN number, very easy. Nothing hard about that. I don't recommend getting any aftermarket because it's not a lot of work, but you don't want to do this twice. Do it once and do it right. So this is a quick guide on how to replace the pump after the fact. Well, stay tuned. The next thing I'm gonna do is to do a quick guide on explaining how to replace an AC compressor. This AC compressor is new. It is so clean. Yeah, I've never seen a pump this clean. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that next on a quick guide on how to do that after the fact.